Jamaican people on a run, come here. Run, come here. Quick, 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 quick. Listen, listen. This is the same reason why Marco Rubio from the United States of America came to Jamaica. This is the reason or the reason that they gave. I'm not saying it was a legitimate reason as if it was happening in Jamaica, but when Marco Rubio came, Marco Rubio said that the Cubans who were working on the medical program, nurses and doctors, so on and so forth, in Jamaica, they were not getting paid properly. And if they were not getting paid properly, it can be like somebody being forced into servitude. For instance, the Cuban government would send these doctors and nurses and medical professionals to Jamaica to work, and then these people would not get paid. So they weren't able to work and send money back home to take care of their family, help pay the bills and whatnot, right? And they were concerned about that because for them, that would be human trafficking. Of course, Andrew Holness and Christopher Tufton stood up and said, no such thing. Jamaica is not into these kinds of things. That's not what we're doing. Everybody gets paid accordingly. Well, I want you to notice, right? After Marco Rubio left Jamaica, what happened to a large number of those Cuban medical staff individuals that were on the island? You don't have to guess, they left right after. However, Dr. Christopher Tufton tried to cover it by saying that they didn't leave because he came here. It was purely coincidence that after the US threatened to take away elected officials in Jamaica's US visas and the visas of their close family members, if they continued to use the Cuban nationals for their medical program, you saw so many of them leave the island. Well, fast forward till today, and I'm checking the Observer and the Gleaner and the Star, and boom, buck up on some news. Chinese strike. Chinese strike. So the other day, I saw a video of some Chinese people leaving a construction site. And I must admit, it was nothing but Chinese people leaving the construction site. And there was a Jamaican man standing outside who was making the video, obviously. And he was saying in the video, look on this. When you look on this, you know, so them Chinese people here bring them own worker come over to Jamaica. So when them get the contract them to build the place them, and you hear say construction are go on. And then you hear Andrew Holness said this a build up and that a build up and new construction here. Jamaicans are not getting any of that work because they are flying in their own Chinese people to build these things. Of course, I was along the lines with other Jamaicans who said these words. The reason why Jamaicans are not getting the job is because majority of the Jamaicans, when they are hired, they become unreliable. Them want bad up the person who is in charge. Some of them want to make and set their own time to get to work and their own time to leave work. Some of them want the day that you get paid must be the day that you work half day so them can go bar, go spend the rest of the money or hang out or whatever. Some of them, as them take a lunch break, that is it. No more productivity for the rest of the day. Just the stylings. Man want to take a break, we go smoke cigarette every hour and every 15 minutes. Or man want to take a break, we go burn a spliff. Or man stand up on the people, them job not working. These Chinese people, when they bring them in, they work like robots. If them says 9 o'clock work start, a.m., they are there at 8:45. If them say you work till 5 p.m., they're not leaving the site till 5 p.m. If they say it's 1 hour for lunch break, they take exactly 1 hour, 12 to 1 and back to work. No argument, no dead, no nothing like that. So they are easier to work with. And because of that, there is way more productivity because projects are being done on time and they are meeting deadlines, which allow things to flow smoothly. on to the next project. Well, from a business perspective, I can understand that. But today, September 18th of 2025, I look in the paper and I see Chinese strike. Chinese strike. The same thing that I just told you that Marco Rubio had accused Jamaica of doing with the Cubans, right? Unpaid construction workers express fear that they will lose their house back home. They temporarily walk off of the hospital job site, afraid they will lose their houses back home, as in back home in China. So these are the same construction workers that I saw in the video, leaving in groups. There were no black persons there. There were no Caucasian persons among them. It was just a large group of Chinese workers. Mind you, some of them could have been Jamaican. I would not have known, because Jamaica have Chinese people who are born and raised in Jamaica and are fully Jamaican from birth. But no, these are the Chinese who came here for the main purpose of working construction. And now it is being exposed that these people are working for months at a time without being paid. It get to the point now where the people them say them can't take it no more. So they are actually protesting in Jamaica. Montego Bay, Jamaica. Chinese construction workers building the $43 million Western Children and Adolescent Hospital in Mount Salem, who complain that they have not been paid their proper pay since the start of the year, say that they had no choice but to temporarily walk off of the job Wednesday gone because of mounting bills back home. Like how some of we go overseas, go work. So you leave Jamaica and you go to the US on a work program. And you're there work on a farm, or you're working at a restaurant, or wherever you're working at, a warehouse or something. Anyway, you get a like $500 a week for the work. I'm just throwing a number out there. You send home a $200, you tell wife, you say, go and pay some of the bills, or you send home a $300, go and pay some of the bills, pay with daughter school fee, keep some food in the house. Next week, me get pay, me send in some more. The Chinese are in Jamaica are doing the same thing. The only problem is now they are saying they have not been paid since the start of the year. Today is September 18th. So, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September is a long time to be working and not getting paid. I would say they have worked almost the whole year. There's only 3 months left in the year. And to now be protesting saying we have not been paid. So according to them, some are even at risk now of losing their houses in China, saying that efforts to go through diplomatic channels have proved futile, and they are hoping that the protest will actually call some attention to the plight that they are enduring in Jamaica. We all have children and elderly back home, and the loan on the house needs to be paid, one man said in a text message that was translated with a language app. The house in our country may be forcibly withdrawn or auctioned, and we will lose even more. Now, we just want to get our hard-earned money back to China. From January of 2025 to now, we have not been paid our work salary. But there I'll read through the text, I see the little video and the picture of them with the people outside, and I'm saying to myself, the Chinese people them can take them liberties there with, because this is exactly the reason why they wouldn't want to hire no Jamaicans. It ain't necessarily because we want to take a smoke break and a man want to burn a spliff somewhere during the middle of the day, take a little two draw before him go back to work or nothing like that. It ain't because we come into work late. I mean, these are things that do happen, and I do fault Jamaicans for that. Be more professional, man, if you want people to hire you for these big projects. But which Jamaican you think you can ramp with? Pan no construction site. Construction is not no easy work, you know. Pan some construction site, son a beat down your blouse and skirt, and then you supposed to work 9 months straight with no pay. Them Jamaican people here are not built like that. Man will lick you down with big stone, my friend. Somebody will chop you up with cutlass, my friend. Oi, Mr. B, I want my money today. Today. If you not get it today, me limb up your cloth around here. I've seen these things happen. That's why I'm able to say what I'm saying. The people them say since January of 2025, they have not been paid their salary. The text also suggested that they had appealed to the Chinese embassy to help, but up to this date, there has been no intervention. So it looked like the embassy must be in on it too. Now, why would China and the Chinese embassy and these Chinese business people bring their own Chinese people all the way to Jamaica to work them and not pay them with a promise of pay? That's like enslaving your own people to suit foreigners. That don't make no sense to me. I'm trying to figure out why would they do that. So the text also suggests that they had appealed to the Chinese embassy for some help, but no help has came their way. It said that we went to the embassy, and the embassy said that it would help to mediate, but there was not time to determine the mediation. In other words, they said they would help, but no time was set for them to help us because every day is just work, like Rihanna. Work. On Wednesday morning, the frustrated workers, most of them men, they converged at the gate of the under construction building. The words, "No money, no work," were prominently displayed on a makeshift sign of what appeared to be plyboard that was painted in white and that was held in place with stilts. So the people that make up them own sign and post it up outside, no work, no pay, and they gathered there. At one point, one man who was identified as a supervisor was seen as he emerged from a section of the work site, and he addressed the crowd of men who were gathered, but the crowd of men responded with some angry reactions. I guess him probably come out there and telling them, say, "Are you forgetting your Chinese discipline? You are making us look bad in front of the Jamaicans. Please go back to work. We will fix this problem, I promise you." And in their own Chinese way, they might have said, "Suck your mother. We're not going back to work until you pay us." You've been saying that since February, after we walk out the whole of January. And then you've been saying that since February, March, April, all the way till now is September. We're done. We've had enough. That is what it seemed like they responded by saying. Not necessarily in those words, but along those lines. Because nobody never moved according to this report, them angrily responded and stayed right where they were at. The protesters were provided with verbal support from a number of Jamaicans who were passing by. You know how Jamaican people stay already. Big up yourself, Mr. Chin. Yes, demand your money, yes. Tell the people them say, "No work, no pay." One woman said as she urged them to stand firm. She said, "Demand your money, yes." One local worker from the nearby Cornwall Regional Hospital at that site sought to rally the troops by shouting the slogan from their sign. Remember, the Chinese people them hold them sign already. The sign already says no money, no work. So the Cornwall regional employee was passing by and echoed it loud for them. "No money, no work." Show them some support, standing in solidarity with the Chinese worker them. So when asked for a comment on-site supervisor would only say that they would be working to resolve the issue, and that is all they are going to say. Hmm. Hmm. I'm sure they don't want to elaborate, because then they would have to explain how come you have not paid these people since January of 2025 and now we're in September. Is it true? And figure do that the interview in front of the people them. Some of them Chinese people here, them can get pretty ignorant, or ignorant as we say, and lick you down with two big stone to miss them fight already. Either that, or them know the Tui Chi and the Chai Chu and some karate too, so them we kuf kaf kwef and hoo don't chop 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 and kick you up. Yeah. So their supervisor didn't want to take the chance, apparently, doing an interview explaining why. Because if they had to lie in the interview, they might have gotten an angry response from the Chinese people who are protesting outside. According to the Jamaica Observer, also sought to get a comment from Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, who was sworn in with other members of the cabinet yesterday. His one-sentence reply, because that's all Dr. Christopher Tufton had to say, was that the construction workers were back on the job. That's all him said. They were back on the job. I guess he didn't want to discuss either why they are in Jamaica slaving away since January, still have not been paid. Him just said they're back on the job. So located on the grounds of the CRH, this is a 220-bed Western children and adolescent hospital that will provide medical services for children and adolescents up to the ages of 18 years old or so. And it will also include a 60-room resident facility specifically for health professionals from Western Jamaica. So ground was officially broken on this 7 floors facility in October of 2019. So this project has been going on for quite some time, because we're now in 2025. We're talking about, 6 years? And it is expected to leverage synergies from operations at KPH or CRH, bills as the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean. This is a big deal. The hospital is described as, on Health Ministry's website, as a gift. Get this part. Not only is it supposed to be some big fancy something, as in it is supposed to be the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean, but listed on the website of Health Ministry's website, it is actually supposed to be a gift from the government of the People's Republic of China. Now, of course, a lot of people are going to say, why would China be gifting Jamaica a facility of such sorts? Such exquisite facility. A medical facility. We're talking about $43 million here, right? We're talking about a 7-story facility, over 200 beds facility, 60 rooms of that just for residents facility for healthcare professionals. And it's supposed to be a gift from the Chinese government. And the workers are all Chinese who are complaining that they have not been paid since January of 2025. In September of 2025. Uno do the maths. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but I find this quite suspicious. And it takes me back to the accusation that Marco Rubio them came to Jamaica with, saying that human trafficking might be happening. But of course, you also know the relationship between the United States of America and China. So as much as the United States of America can say, we will withhold your visas for all elected officials in Jamaica, so you can't come back to America if you don't continue to use the Cubans, and they will send away the Cubans and go look for some Filipinos or some Nigerians to replace them, which is what Dr. Christopher Tufton said they would do. But them not have too much talk when it comes to Chinese and Chinese business, because Chinese don't have the US speak on their business in any way. The Chinese will be very vocal to tell the US to come out of them business. Therefore, the workers who are brought to Jamaica by the Chinese government or the Chinese construction companies, they are at the mercy of the Chinese construction companies and the Chinese government, so to speak. Leave your comments in the comment section below. You think some exploitation are going on? Or do you think it's a simple misunderstanding? I'll catch you in the comment section and see how many of these comments I can answer respectfully. Catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.